Hey guys, welcome back. So what we're looking at today is 2.6 factor fixin. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So what we're looking at here is creating binomial quadratics. So multiply, we're going to use the distributive property so we can write these in standard form. So I'm going to do number 2 with you. So we're going to distribute the 5x to both the 3x and the 8. So 5x times 3x is 15x squared, and 5x times 8 is going to be plus 40x. So that's all you guys are doing for these first 3 problems, is taking and distributing the number on the outside to both things inside, which should give you a quadratic equation in every case. Then on 4, you're going to answer this question based on the work you did in 1, 2, and 3. So you have to figure out which coefficient A, B, or C equals 0 for all the exercises above. So you have to figure that out, okay? After you take and do those. So I'm not going to do that with you. You have to figure it out. The next one, factor the following. Write the expressions as products of 2 linear factors. So that means we want to take and basically go from this form here to this form up here. So what do 12x squared and 60x have in common? They're both divisible by 6. They are both divisible by 6, but we can put in 12 into both of them. So they both are divisible by 12. They also both have at least one x. So we can write this as 12x times 2x. Oops, not 2x. Don't know what I'm talking about here. Thinking we were taking out the 6, times x plus 5. 5 times 12 does give us 60. So there is our factored form. So that's just factoring them. All right? So that's what you're doing on 5 through 8. You need to find out what's the greatest common factor, remember when we worked on that can go into both of the sets of numbers. That goes to the outside, and then you divide your problem to figure out what's left over to go inside the parentheses. All right, for 9 through 12, we are using FOIL. So we're going to take and multiply these to take and find our solution. So 7x times 7x. So remember, this is FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So 7x times 7x is going to give us a 49x squared. Oops, wrong one. 7x times negative 1 is going to give us a negative 7x. 1 times 7x is going to give us a positive 7x. And negative 1 times positive 1 will give us a negative 1. Simplify this down. Negative 7 plus 7. Those cancel. So we're left with 49x squared minus 1. So these are what these questions are going to look like. So make sure you simplify afterwards and be very, very careful. Don't drop any negatives. It's so easy to drop a negative. We don't want to drop any negatives because that'll completely change the problem. Then, just like up above, you're going to have a question where you have to answer which term has a coefficient of 0. So which term is missing. All right, the next one, factor the following quadratic expressions into 2 binomials. So when we take and factor, factoring is all about finding what 2 numbers multiply to give us our C value and add to give us our B value. So we're going to take a look at number 16. So our C value is 45. So we need to find out what 2 numbers can multiply to give us 45, but add to give us 46. Well, 1 and 45, if we add those together, they equal 46. So we're going to have x plus 1 times x plus 45. So there is our solution. Now, we're also going to do number 14 as well. It's also multiplying to give us 45, but we have the equation x squared plus 14x plus 45, so we need it to add to get to 14. So 1 and 45 is not going to work this time. So we need to figure out something else that works. So we've got, let's see, 3 and 15. If we add those together, we get 18. That doesn't work. We've got 5 and 9. If we add those together, we get 14. So we come over here, x plus 5, x plus 9. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter what order you do these in. You can say x plus 9 times x plus 5. That's perfectly fine. It can be either or. But that's what you're looking at for this section. So it's all about knowing your factors. So knowing all the things that multiply to give you 24, all those different two numbers that'll multiply, all your factors of 36, all your factors of 100. Now, when you have a negative, you have to be careful. If your 15 here is negative, then you need the larger of the two numbers that you're multiplying to get 100 to be negative to give you the 15. All the rest of these were all positive numbers. So on the negative, it matters which one ends up with the negative sign versus the positive sign, okay? Just like with addition, it matters if you switch which number you're adding or subtracting by. All right, and the last section, only some of the expressions inside the radical sign are perfect squares. Identify which ones are perfect squares and take the square root. Leave the ones that are not perfect squares under the radical sign. Do not attempt to simplify them. Hint, check your answers by squaring them. You should be able to get what you started with if you're right. So if we look at these, and I will tell you, there are only two that are not perfect squares in here. So if we look at the first one, we have 17xyz quantity squared. So what happens when we have a square root with a squared underneath? They cancel. So we're left with just 17xyz. There's our answer. That's what you do for 27, 8, and 29. Remember, on this one, it'll be each individual term you'll have to take care of. Exponents, divide them by 2. Now, down here, these aren't in that same form. And no, you can't just go, okay, x squared and put x plus 8x plus 16. Doesn't work. We have to factor them. So on this one here, 16 is our number that we're looking to find. It's our C value. So what two things multiply to give us 16 but add to give us 8? Well, we've got 1 and 16. We have 2 and 8. We have 4 and 4. This will give us 17. This will give us 10. This gives us 8. So we can rewrite this as x plus 4 squared because it takes x plus 4 times x plus 4 to get us the x squared plus 8x plus 16. Now, it's just like the problem up above. The squared cancels, so we're left with x plus 4. So be careful on these ones here when you're taking and factoring them and getting them into the case of two binomials being multiplied together. Be super careful with those. Okay? All right. So your keyword for this lesson is factoring. We're doing a lot of factoring in here. And we're going to keep doing a lot of factoring. So really make sure you're understanding this. If you aren't, please do ask questions because this is going to keep coming back and it's going to get more complicated and more things are going to be involved in it. So be sure to ask if you don't understand how to do this. So keyword is factoring. Have a great day, you guys. Feel free to ask questions.